Hey guys, it's Brent, and we are live. It is Wednesday evening, almost 7 p.m. We're a little early, a few minutes early. Eastern Standard Time here in Cleveland. Hope you're having a great time wherever you are out there. And if you've watched the show before, you know I love to know where you're from. So if you are watching this live with me, just drop it in the comment box. Let me know where you are viewing from in the world tonight or this morning or wherever you are. We have a great show for you today. We were overwhelmed last week with the amount of questions that came in, and there were so many left over, but then we've gotten so many more questions before tonight as well. So we're going to be doing another Q&A tonight with your questions. Now, I know a couple of them that I saw in my Facebook community, but my team tells me that the other ones are great and with a devilish smile. So I'm thinking there might be one or two that kind of poke me a little bit. So that should be fun. I always love that. Maybe some skeptics out there. That's always good. But we're going to cover a lot of topics like always. If you're watching this and you want to talk about something, or you have a question about something that I've been teaching, just drop it into the comment box as well. They check that every few minutes. Okay. So we have so much in store for you tonight. I thought I'd jump on just a couple of minutes early. It's been a great week. 80 degrees here in Ohio, which is crazy, right? This is my favorite time of year, the fall. So all the leaves are starting to change. I've been sticking to my vegan diet with the juicing, and it's been going incredibly well. I feel amazing. So I'm sticking with that. And it's been going, like I said, it's been going really great. A lot more energy. And yeah, so I'm really enjoying that. So we got so much for you. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Sit back, relax, open your minds, and get ready because there's a lot to unpack and so many of your questions. This is the Mind Power Secrets podcast. All right, we're going to get started. I am your host, Brent Webb, and I am here each and every week to help you unlock and unleash your hidden mind power. You've got it. It's inside you. It's all you need. You don't need to go outside of yourself for anything. You have what it takes to completely transform your life. I show you how to find it, how to activate it, and how to make use in your life today. So like I said, lots of questions that came in, and I know of two of them. So that's it. And they tell me there's 10 or so. So I'm really looking forward to the other ones. I didn't prepare anything. So I'm seeing some of these for the first time with you, which is fun as well. So I think it's much better this way. There's not too much preparation. I'm not reading a script. It's just you and I. We're sitting here. We're talking all about mind power. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started with our very first question. Now, this one I did see. This is from Valine. She is a member of our Facebook community. And every time I see your name, it makes me think of Valine, the 1980s TV character Valine. Remember Valine from Dallas, Valine Ewing? But I know it's Valine, correct, with an E. So let's get to your question. Your question is, do I have to rehash all of the trauma and pain again? I want to leave it behind me and live my life simply and peacefully. We all do, Valine. Yeah, no, you do not have to rehash the trauma and pain again. See, that's the difference between going to a therapist where you're going every week and you're paying, and that's what you have to do over the course of weeks, months, years, decades. You're unloading all of that garbage. You're living through it again. The emotions are flaring up again. The thoughts come racing back again. And for a fact, if anybody out there does is in therapy, that when you walk out the door of the therapist's office, those thoughts don't go away. You go home, you're still thinking about those things. The next day, your stomach is still in a knot. So you are reliving them over and over again when you do that. So no, you do not have to rehash all the trauma and pain again. That's one of the great things about meditation, because meditation, if done correctly, will almost do the heavy lifting for you, because you will start to release things during the course of a deep meditation. You'll be releasing things. You won't even know what's happening. You'll be crying. You won't know why, but you'll have released some heavy baggage, some heavy triggers. And you'll start to notice, wow, I didn't get as upset during, this dramatic moment like I normally do. And you'll start to see it in your life. The great thing about meditation, about chanting, about any form of exercise like that, some mental exercise, I talk always about the repetition of doing it over and over again. But the thing that's great about doing those sort of exercises is the heavy lifting will be done by the subconscious. they will start to, your subconscious will mine out all of those bad things without you having to do too much of the work. Now, one of the things you have to start looking for, though, Valine, are the triggers. So you have to see what is happening when you start to get the feeling, because most people understand, and it's pretty easy to understand, that the thought and the emotion are attached, especially for us human beings. As a matter of fact, it's pretty much only the human beings. Because if you think about it, if two dogs get in a fight or two birds get in a fight, they're not going away thinking, next time I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, right? It's just over. But we punish ourselves over and over and over again by reliving the same moment and the same feeling. Because, like I've said many times, your mind does not know the difference between actually doing something in reality, physically, or thinking about doing it. For your mind, it's exactly the same. The same endorphins fire, the same emotions will rush. So if you're thinking about those negative things, those breakups, those horrible, triggers that you have, what's happening is you're reliving the moment. You're feeling the stress, you're feeling the panic, just like you did at the time. And that is so unhealthy for the body. I mean, disease, dis-ease. You're not at ease. Anxiety, stress, it's such a killer. So you do not have to release, you don't have to feel it and go through it all again as you're releasing it. The easiest thing to start with, and I always call them low-hanging fruit, but if you haven't done any work, now I know, Valine, you have, but if somebody watching this hasn't, I always say start with the small stuff, start with the weather, start with somebody driving in front of you. Those are the easy things instead of getting upset. But every time you release some of your willpower, because that's what you're holding this all inside with, willpower. People don't understand. You have a finite amount every day of this willpower, life force energy. And if you're using it to hold all these things inside that you don't want to talk about, that you don't want to see, think about every time you get a little bit of that power back, and then you're able to focus it where it matters. It starts to change everything. It's such a big thing. And that's how you start to leave those things behind you, because you don't have to go through them over and over and over again. Sometimes just the thought, and then dragging that thought out into the light and really looking at it. And that means not like we normally do, which is, I don't want to talk about that. Don't touch my stuff. Don't make, you have to talk about it. But there's no logic to those sorts of things most of the time, these old patterns. And so as soon as you drag them out in the light, they disappear anyway. But if you don't meditate, you need to do that, because that will get you halfway there. Your subconscious will take care of a lot of this. That connection to ourselves that we've had for centuries, nobody has anymore, really, because of the overabundance of stimulation right now. Nobody takes 10 minutes to sit in a room and just be quiet and connect with themselves. It's all about who's on TikTok, what's happening, the latest video, this trending, viral, I'm too, blah, and on and on. So you need that alone time. You need those moments when you can actually sit and connect. The answers are there. The mind power, the inner power is there. So you need guidance is all you need. We're all exactly the same. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you're watching this from. You can do what anyone else can do. Money is not just for some people. Weight loss is not just for some people. This, that, and this. They always tell ourselves, I can't do that. That's not for me. You can do what it is that you believe you can do. And belief is so powerful. We're going to get into that later again, I'm sure, because we're talking all about the power of belief and the magic of believing. Here's the next question. The next question is from Adrian. Adrian says, I just saw your interview. Well, good. It's about, here we go. He's asking about belief. I just saw your interview where you say you must believe it and then you'll see it. That's that's ass backwards and a bunch of bull. ... So I'm assuming that's, BS, obviously, what you're saying there. Adrian, that's not a typo. That is exactly what it means. Most people will tell you, oh, I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. And doing that, you're never going to see it, because belief has got to come first. So you do have to believe it first. You have to start becoming the person you want to be. You have to start feeling like it. And I don't care, any of the motivational speakers that have trainings and programs. I don't care if you're walking across hot coals like Tony Robbins. I don't care if you're reprogramming your millionaire mindset by some other speaker. Everything breaks down to the basics of you are in control of your own life. We are built with this programming that leaves us completely unequipped to handle ourselves as adults. It was created when we're children. We're under 8 years of age, not logical. I know I sure wasn't mature and I wasn't logical when I was less than 8 years old. Okay. And those decisions that you made then, those things that you did then, those aren't things you should have to live with for the rest of your life. So belief must come first. If you don't believe it, you are never going to see it in your life. And that's why people who follow the law of attraction and they completely have it wrong. You can definitely attract to you the people, the circumstances, and the things that you want, but you can't do it by sitting on the sofa and just daydreaming about it and eating Cheetos while you're, imagining yourself with a bikini body. It doesn't work like that. It is a powerful force, but you have to do your part. You're a co-creator. Like I said, you're a manifester. You're co-creating your existence. So you're giving up that power by just sitting down and kind of letting life unfold in front of you. But life, you're not taking any of the offensive. You're just kind of receiving whatever life puts in your lap, but you're not making those moves. And you have to do that, Adrian. So belief definitely must come first. I have worked with so many different celebrities, and I can't tell you the amount of people who talk about belief. I want to talk about Phyllis Diller later. I talk about her all the time, but she's one of those stories, a 40-year-old housewife who wanted to be a comedian, decided she was going to read The Magic of Believing, changed her life. And for the rest of her life, she talked about it. I have a few clips I'll show you guys later before we end, because I really want you to hear her in her own words talking about it. But you have got to become, and there is no one else, you've got to become the person in charge of making the change in your life. And to do that, you have to start believing. Because if you don't, if you're just daydreaming, if you're just wishing, if you're just hoping, then whatever it is that you want will always be ahead of you. It will never be where you are, because you're always going to be chasing it and you are not putting it in the present. So you have to see yourself there, feel yourself there. Things will start to change. Circumstances start to happen. People start to appear. Synchronicities happen. And most people will say it's a coincidence, but it's not. I don't believe in that. Everything is the universe, is God, is source giving you messages. Your life is not supposed to be hardship. It's not supposed to be trouble. It's not supposed to be strife. It's not supposed to be financial ruin. It's supposed to be a life of living, of enjoying, of helping other people and being able to do it, affording to be able to do it, and have the energy and the health to be able to do it. So you have to start believing. If you want to make change in your life, belief has to happen, and it has to come before anything else. So a lot of the things that I teach students and clients of mine is, one of the things I created was a mind hack to be able to transfer that feeling. So in other words, you take a moment from your past, sometime when you really felt, you got a new car, you got that first kiss from the person you had the crush on, and you get that energy, that huge rush of energy, and that amazing, incredible feeling. And you cultivate that for a few moments, and you meditate on it, and you feel it, and you get it in your body. And then you make a mental image of whatever it is you want. You see yourself in that end game, and you transplant the feeling. And by doing that a few times, then when you start to visualize that image, I call it the anchor image. That's the thing you throw up in your mind onto your mental picture that shows exactly the life you want. You can feel it, you can see it, you can taste it. And that is how it starts to come into fruition. That is how it has to be. So you got to get it on the mental screen. You got to visualize. You got to do those affirmations. Okay. So belief is all important because it's the first step. And without it, you're never going to get anywhere. Okay. So it's not backwards, my friend. It's exactly the way it's supposed to be. Try it. I love people who they always say, this won't work. This is BS, whatever, but they've never tried it and they've never done it. We've had thousands of people who've done it successfully, and you're getting this information for nothing. So what is the risk that you'll take by trying it for yourself? Because I guarantee if you will try these techniques and these strategies that I'm gifting you here, it will start to change your life. It'll do exactly what it did to mine. I made millions of dollars when I was in my 20s, but I made it the wrong way. I made it with a mindset where money was everything and greed was everything. And I didn't care what I had to do to get it. And I wasn't happy and I was miserable and I was stressed out and I had anxiety and I drank way too much and I smoked way too much and I popped pain pills like they were going out of style. So having a ton of money, who gives a crap at that point? Because you're suicidal. You feel like crap all the time. You don't even want to get out of bed. That's the reason, at least for me, you start taking pills. I mean, I got prescribed pain pills for a back surgery, a tailbone surgery, but wow, I can take these and knock out. I would have rather been sleeping and just out of the reality. I mean, that's such a sad place to be, but it's so true. Okay. So let's get to the next question. This is from Horace. Horace says, I've been listening to you. I'm drinking some tea. That's not what Horace says. That's what I'm saying. I've been listening to you for a while now, and I love what you teach. I've tried meditation, and I can't sit still. Am I doing something wrong? No, you are not, Horace, because everyone asks that question, or many people do, and I thought I was doing something wrong. It takes time because your mind does not want to be trained. Your mind is not used to having you in control. Your mind is used to running the show. That's why it can throw up whatever images it wants. It can show you horrible things from your past. It can warn you about your future, all these horrible things that will never happen. It scares the hell out of you. Your mind can be a very combative enemy, or it can be a great friend. But most of us are fighting with it. And the bitchy roommates, what I call it, it's like living with someone 24/7. You can't get away from. They're ruining your life. They're living rent-free in your head. So you have to be very, very careful. Okay. So you're not doing anything wrong. If you've tried it for a while and you can't sit still, you have to, first of all, start slow. Start with 3 minutes. Start with, 4 minutes. You want to build up to 20. Would be the perfect amount of time. 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening will reset your mind and will completely transform your life. I promise you. And a lot of the things like Valine asked will start to come out of you and away without you having to delve into the pain of them. Because the meditation, when you're silent in yourself, those things start to work themselves out. It's like magic. Guys, find the graphics for the webinar, the meditation exercise. I'm going to show you guys, and I wasn't going to do this, but I will show you something that we teach in our programs and in our seminars, and I will teach you the meditation that I teach. Okay. So if you have never meditated and you'd like to try, this is the one you should do. We've had so much success with this process because I've taken things that have worked for me and I have used different processes and put them together and subtracted and combined. And over the years, I have created what I think is one of the best meditations to get you into the zone, to get you to that subconscious, the field, the unified field where everything springs from, where creativity and artistry and intuition, all of those things come from. So I've done so much to not only get there myself, but be able to have other people do the same thing, because it's not only how we change ourselves, it's how we change each other. And then by osmosis, the people around us start to change. They see it happening and they're inspired to do it too. So I'm going to show you this. Okay, Horace. So I don't know what meditation you're doing now, but let's just start with 5 minutes. Okay. So tonight, okay, or tomorrow morning, whatever, you're going to start with 5 minutes. You're going to pick a chair, a comfortable chair. You're going to sit with your feet flat on the floor, hands, if there are arms, on the arms, if there are no arms, on your lap. Okay. The idea is you don't want to move. You don't want to do what your body's going to tell you to do, which is my arm is sore, my butt hurts, I have to make lunch, I think I hear the cat. It's going to be one thing after another that's going to have you moving. Okay. Repetition of doing this, eventually your mind will slink into the background because it's going to know it can't get away with it anymore. And it will happen. I never thought I would see the day, but it happened. And then it has been happening ever since. The anxiety and the stress and things like that that I dealt with all my life and struggled with so severely disappear. I mean, they disappeared for me. It's just a crazy thing. So here's what you do tomorrow morning. You're going to sit in that chair, and this is the Philoli meditation. That's what I call it, and I'll tell you why. You want a mantra that you can say in your head, but you don't want it to be something like ice cream, piano, red, God, anything like that, because what starts to happen in the repetition of saying it in your mind, you start to visualize things. Okay, ice cream, you're seeing all the flavors, you're seeing Baskin Robbins, you're seeing ice cream cones, you're going down, and the next thing you know, it's 10 minutes later. So this is the mantra, and it's pronounced Philoli. Philoli, okay? That is how you say it. That's what you're going to pronounce over and over and over inside your mind, okay? So you're going to sit there, feet flat on the floor, hands either on your lap, on the arms of the chair. You're going to close your eyes. You're going to take a few very deep breaths. You're going to go in through your nose, go out through your mouth, and you're going to do that 3, 4, 5 times, doesn't matter, and sit for 10, 20, 30 seconds and just kind of center yourself, okay? And then you're going to start that mantra, okay? You're going to start saying that word in your mind, okay? Not out loud, not going to move your lips. You're going to say it silently to yourself, okay? And this is why the word is powerful, because this is what it means. It's a creation of, okay? Philoli. So the F-I, there are 3 things that I think need to be behind everything that matters in your life. This is the first. You fight for what you believe in. That's what the FI is for. Okay. Then we've got the LO. You probably know that's for love, but love is all that matters. Love is all there is. If you're living without it, if you don't think you deserve it, if you're not giving it to yourself, you're doing yourself a tremendous disservice, because love is the power that really changes everything. It's the strongest power in the universe. So love, that's what the LO is for. And finally, the LI is for live. Live the life of your dreams. Live the life you are meant to live. Live the life you've been dreaming about since you were a kid. There's a reason that you've been seeing that you've been feeling that, you've been getting excited about that. It's your dream for a reason. And so many of us put that dream on the back burner. So you're sitting in the chair, feet flat on the floor. Close those eyes, take those breaths, give yourself 30 seconds, and then start the mantra in your mind. You can start it very, very slow, just over and over and over again. Just keep saying that word. Here's the great thing about mantras. Don't say this word out loud to yourself. Don't say it to your friend, okay? Don't write it down and carry it around with you, because I want this to be an abstract term in your mind. Okay. I don't want this to be something you bring into concrete reality. So start repeating the word in your mind, just over and over and over again. That's all you got to do. That's as easy as pie, right? You keep repeating the word. And if all of a sudden you're thinking about dinner, or the fight you had with your girlfriend, or if the dog needs a bath, automatically go back to the mantra and just start repeating it. And that is how it works. It's the repetition of constantly pulling back your focus. I can guarantee you, no matter where you are, if you went to a traditional education, like elementary school, and then kindergarten through 12th grade, you never learn to focus, because we're never taught that. And a teacher kept telling me that once, I think 3rd grade, you need to focus, you need to focus. And I said, I must have missed that day, because I don't remember learning to focus. And she didn't really remember either. She was honest about it being taught either. We never learn how to focus. And this is what this will do. So saying this word over and over and over again inside your mind will start to settle down the inner you, settle down the soul. You'll start to make that connection where the answers are. Your subconscious mind that runs rampant while you're going through your day will start to to settle down. It's like what happens at night when, all day long you've got your subconscious mind, but then at night you kind of link up to the conscious mind of everyone, the universal conscious mind. Okay. So all the answers are there. You just have to patch into that. So you start repeating the mantra over and over and over. Anytime you lose focus, you just pull it back. Start with 3 minutes if you have to. Okay. And then go up to 5. Stay at 5 for a week or two. Add a minute a week until you get to 20. And when you have honestly done that and you're doing 20 minutes that way, by adding a minute each week, you will be in a tremendous place that not many people get to because they don't stick with it. And it is repetition. I tell everyone all the time, you got yourself here because of repetition. That's why, I've had all the bad habits I've had. Repetition will get you out of them, but it takes that repetition. So that's the word. Just keep it in your mind. Keep it in your mind as your mantra. Anytime, even if you're standing in line in the bank and you feel stressed, just start repeating that mantra inside your mind. It will calm you down. It's an amazing thing, but that's all you need for a mantra meditation. Okay. So use this one and I guarantee it'll start to change your life, but you don't give up on it. You have to use it every day. You have to. Okay. So that's why I said, I don't care if you start with 3 minutes, but do 3 minutes. You force yourself to sit there because eventually your mind will let you free once it realizes it's not going to get out of this. And it won't understand that if you keep getting up and moving and stopping and changing your mind. It doesn't work. You got to be dedicated. You have to have intention. Okay. Intention is power too. Okay. So that's it. Philoli is the word. Put it into your subconscious, keep it in your mind, and you'll be able to just kind of, anytime you're thinking negatively, start repeating that in your mind and remember what it means. Fight for what you believe in. Because what else is there, right? Don't be a follower and just agree with everyone else. Do your own research, figure it out. Love is all that matters. Love is a tremendous power. Okay, just like negativity, just like positivity, but love trumps everything. So love is all that matters. And finally, live the life of your dreams. You are the architect of your reality. Those dreams are yours and yours alone for a reason. So it's time to go and get them. All right. Here's our next question. It's from Katie. Katie says, I would like to discuss the world drug crisis. Okay. How the opioid epidemic is a public health issue versus a criminal justice issue. Okay, Katie, I will be honest. Of course, I'm not an expert in this field. I can tell you, anytime we start calling something, it's like the war on drugs, the war on cancer, it just goes on and on and on forever. Okay. The idea of, the problem with opioids, obviously, is now that people can't get them, they are resorting to buying them illegally, and then they're getting poisoned and killed with fentanyl because it's all about money. Nobody gives a crap anymore about another person and another life and anything else. It's all about you. It's all about what you can buy. It's all about your car. It's all about your status. And that's the same all over the world. It's horrible in America, of course, but there's all these laws protecting the big drug companies. And I know, is it Purdue? One of them is going through trying to go through something right now that lets them off the hook if they pay. I forget. It's several $1 billion. I know that. It is definitely a public health issue. We used to put people in prison for marijuana and things like that. Anybody that you throw in jail is going to go off the medicine at least for a while, right? So just throwing somebody in jail and trying to, there's no rehab there. There's no real rehab, because there's not a discussion of the triggers of why you're using, of why you are blocking out your feelings and wanting to feel that way. Because most people that are hooked on opioids aren't hooked on them because I know I wasn't hooked on them because I was in pain. People that are in severe pain, I understand, but it's people who want the euphoria that gives you is where the problem is coming from, so I completely understand that. But you got to figure out what the trigger is, what it is you're trying to mask. I'm not talking about you, of course. I'm just saying in a general way, but people are trying to mask something. Okay. So that's the problem with healthcare in general. There's never a fixing of the underlying issue. It's always medicine, medicine, medicine. They'll fix this. You stay on this. It doesn't fix it. You stay on this for the rest of your life. But it doesn't fix whatever the underlying problem is. Even if you got a heart transplant and you kept eating the way you were eating, it's not going to be a permanent fix. You might have to have another one. I mean, that's not a medical cure. That's just, they're doing something that's prolonging things, that's making, but you're still sick and you're still miserable. So, it's the same kind of problem here. It's a money driven enterprise. And it's, health should definitely not be, money should not be the first priority. It needs to be other people. Not just you have to look at everyone else. And, we're so used to being divided. We are so used to being told that we're not all one and we're not all connected, which is bullshit, because we are. And the problem is that, it's much easier for the people that control everything to put everyone else against each other. And they do that by creating problems that don't exist and blaming other people and getting you mad at somebody else. I mean, it's ridiculous, but that's a way to keep the money rolling in without anyone looking, at the real underlying issue. So until you find out what your triggers are, until we find out what's making the person use, what are they trying to mask? What are they trying to block out of their mind? What are they trying to forget? Because I think that would solve a huge amount of that problem as well. So that's what I got for that. Again, not really my area of expertise, but I told you, my feelings, of course, is what we're doing. I mean, everything I do here, none of these questions did I see before. I'm just telling you how I feel. I'm seeing it for the first time, and I'm telling you, my advice. I'm telling you things I've been through. Anything that I teach, anything that I am talking about in my Facebook community or on my page or anything like that, in my email newsletter, those are not things that somebody else tried that I don't know how they work. Those are things I know work because I've done them and I have had other people do them. So I know the success of that. If you're in the community, I post weird questions sometimes, but the human mind is an amazing thing. I can get you to be thinking of something you need to be thinking of by asking questions in a certain way. You don't need to know. That's the thing. The whole thing is about your awakening. That is everything that we do here. It's all about the aha moment, your breakthrough, when you go, I get it. I get it. For the first time, I get it. That's what it's about. So no, sometimes, I may be doing it with, you'll think, what does this question have to do with anything? There's a reason for it. Trust me, I spend hours a week, even with my team doing so much of the actual work, I am still spending hours and hours and hours every week creating the content, using parts of my program, teaching the things that I know work. So I'm not doing that for my health. I'm not doing that just to be in there and be seen. My job is to be on stage and to be in front of people. My job isn't usually this, but I want you to have this information. I want you to be able to change your life. Because now I'm seeing the amount of messages and the amount of emails and the amount of phone messages at our office, just from people, they're just lost. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They don't, because there's so much conflicting information. Everyone is an expert, right? Everyone is an expert. So you have to be careful. You have to vet a little bit who it is that you're listening to. Now, it's important to remember, I've been doing this a long time. This is my 30th year, and I have toured all over the world. I've been in almost every country in the world, from Antarctica to Africa, everywhere in between. And the one thing I've always been fascinated with, and has been my expertise, is the human mind, the subconscious, why some people fail, some people succeed. The same person, kind of, two brothers. One makes it huge success, and the other one becomes, an alcoholic or something. It's unbelievable to me, from the two men from the same family. So I've been obsessed with that my whole life. And ever since I read The Magic of Believing when I was 8 years old, I knew there was something more, but I really started putting it into my life in, my late 20s, into my 30s. I was still miserable. I was still doing all of the things that I thought I needed to be doing, trying to make the big money and have the big house and drive the sports cars. And it's all hollow and empty. And so, when you realize that, when your whole life is that, man, you talk about the bottom dropping out of your life. If you think that's your goal in life and then you get it and you realize it's not, that it's just a bunch of BS, like Adrian said, you kind of, you're off kilter for a while, because it's a scary thing to have your belief system kind of break. And that's what so much of this is about. It's that rusty old belief system that was created when we were young. So I've done this all over the world, and I've taught millionaires and billionaires and sports teams, and I've taught celebrities, and I've worked with and opened for celebrities as well. And I've met so many people talk about the power of mind that understand it. Because people in their everyday lives, working a 9-to-5 job with kids and a husband and this, that, and the other, they don't have time to be trying all these different things to try to, harness their mind power. But people that are successful like that have a usually just a crazy belief in themselves. They of course they have business managers and agents and dog walkers and nannies and all of that stuff that the masses don't have. So they do have more time once they understand, hey, I can use this willpower, this focus to completely change the things in my life that I want to change. So that's what I've been doing. But now I'm in this 30th year, as I'm kind of winding down. I mean, I'm still going out. I have cruises coming up in a month, and I still go in front of thousands of people every year. But this is where it is for me. This is where it is helping people, normal, everyday people, unlock their mind, change their life, inspire their kids, change their bloodline, the entire generational trauma of their family. That's where it is. Okay. Here is the next question. Let's see. Maria says, my husband died at 50. Sorry, Maria. And I feel like my life is over too. I just want the years to pass quickly so I can be with my soulmate again. Do you believe I'll see him again? Maria, of course. But the idea that, your life is over because of anyone else, and I know, I get it, your soulmate, right? But you have to create a life where you're living for yourself. I believe anyway, and everywhere I've been and everything I've learned, and I've talked to the most spiritual, I've talked to monks, I've meditated in Tibet, I know that we go on. I know that energy goes on. If you watch any person talk about a near-death experience, almost everyone will say, there's that moment when the loved ones return to take you over. You never see them, but you feel them. You feel, and in meditation, I felt my dad so strongly a couple of times. It's just overwhelming. I mean, it's so emotional, but you don't see anything, but you get an overwhelming sense of that person, that the love of that person, and the energy goes on. So, I mean, the body is the piece that's here. The energy goes forward. I mean, you can't create it. You can't destroy it. We know that about energy, right? We're all energy. I mean, everything around us is energy, and everything around us is temporary. That's one of those things some people grasp immediately. And those that do usually live a life that's not so clutched with fear, because you realize everything is temporary. Nothing is permanent. I mean, me, you, this chair, this house, the building, the car, everything around us, the trees, everything is temporary. And we're a part of that big puzzle. So, Maria, I would say to you, you've got to start taking some time for yourself, because if this is how you're feeling, then you're definitely living in the past. And I tell people all the time, we live in the past about 40% of our day. Think about that. 40%. I'm going to unbutton this. Look at me. I look way too stiff here. 40% of the time we're living in the past. 40% of the time we're living in the future, worried about all the things we think are going to happen. But only 20% of our time we're in the now. And this is our moment. This is your power. This is the only time you have to make any kind of real change, because the past is over. You can't fix it. You can't change it. You can't do anything about it. So stop living there. You can't jump into the future and try to do anything. So you let those things go. And I know somebody said today, that's easier said than done. Of course it is. Most things that are worthwhile are easier said than done, but you have to start trying. So that's the first thing you can do, Maria, is try to stop yourself from living too much in the past. Be thinking about, the memories are great. The person, that love is inside you. I mean, it's there. That's why, again, because it's energy that can't be destroyed, it's always there. But you have to start living for yourself. So if you don't meditate, and we talked about meditation, try the meditation that I talked about. Okay, Maria? Remember, philoli is the word. You say that to yourself silently over and over and over again. Anytime your mind goes to your husband, anytime your mind goes to anything else, you pull it right back to that word. And you're just repeating it in your mind silently over and over and over again. And I know what you're thinking. What will this do? This isn't going to work. It's not going to help. It absolutely will with repetition. I promise you. The more you do it, the more your burden will start to release, because things will start to work out in the background. You'll start to release little things you don't even know you're holding anymore. And so before you even have to tackle that big stuff, so many of the little things will remove themselves, and then that willpower will come back to you. And every time that happens, you have more power and more strength. You have a much stronger base to stand in. You're not swayed by the wind and moved by the opinions of everyone. You're able to take that stance of power, and from that, you're able to make change. So you got to try some meditation, Maria. You have to do something to try to get into the current moment as much as possible and not live in the past or wishing that this would have happened, could have happened, should have happened. It's a game that we can't win. And all it does is cost us our life. It costs us time, precious time. Okay. You will be with your husband again. You will be surrounded by that energy again. You will, and you could feel this in meditation. I promise you, while you're still here on this plane. But just start doing things for you. Take some time for you. Take some time to figure out what it is you like, Maria. What are your hobbies? What did you kind of stop doing? Maybe, I don't know if you have started a family, whatever. What did you kind of put on the back burner? What can you start focusing your passion into? Where is your passion? Some people like to write. Some people like to paint. Some people like to go out and garden. What is it? Maybe you want to go back to school. Who knows? But start looking at the things that you would do for nothing because you're so passionate about them, and start looking in that area, because there could be so much there for you. Maria, I'm thinking about you. I'm sending you love and light. And I know that if you employ a few of these things, you'll start to see some real changes. So write us back and let us know. Okay. All right. Next is Trina. Trina says, OMG, OMG, Trina. I felt it for the first time last night. Okay. I've been doing your meditation now for almost 2 weeks. And for the first time, I had spiritual chills. They're pretty cool. And extreme peace. I was crying. That happens to me too. No shame in that. Thank you for what you do. I'm a believer. You are welcome, Trina. This is a great message. I did not see this one, so I really appreciate that. The spiritual chills, first time you get those, it's amazing. It literally feels like you have the flu or something, and you get this, you're shaking. I mean, and it's bliss. It's all of a sudden the uncorking of your energy. You've got that energy. It's flowing through you all the time, but we've put corks in there. All the things we hate, all the people we don't like, all the problems, all the past, all the future, all this crap. Just like a hoarder, we throw it inside, and it blocks up the pure energy that's running through us. And once that cork pops out, those are where the spiritual chills come in. You get that physical feeling. It's almost an orgasmic feeling. And that's really what it is. I've had it before where I've been standing up and, your legs get weak, because it is like, wow, this is really something. So, and what else did you say about the extreme peace? Exactly, man. I've been meditating now twice a day for years, but I would wait. Sometimes I would do, I'd get up, I would have my juice. I would do this. I would do that. I would meditate usually within the first hour. But I'll tell you when it really started making a difference was when I did it right away. Roll out of bed, go into meditation, because you're still in that area between sleep and awake. The subconscious mind is at its most touchable at that point. So if you can do your meditation right when you get up, it really makes a much stronger impression. Okay. So very first thing in the morning, and last thing at night, it doesn't have to exactly be the last thing, maybe in the last hour. Because the last thing you want to do, Trina, is that 5 minutes before you go to sleep, you want to visualize what it is that you want. You want to put your anchor image in your mind. You want to see the life. You want to feel it like it's right now. And you want to go to sleep on that. You want to dream about that. You want your subconscious to go to work on that. You don't want to go to sleep thinking about the problems and thinking about all the bad things, all the things you don't want. Because when you wake up tomorrow, there it is again. And you just have continued a bad day into another. And so some people are on that streak for weeks, months, years, decades, lifetimes. They never get out of it. Okay. So awareness is so powerful. And Trina, now that something happens to you, that's for all those so many years I kept saying, just like we had earlier, who was it that asked? Adrian, right? Adrian. Yeah. You must believe it and then you'll see it. But it absolutely is true. You have to believe it first. Belief has to come first. And this is a great way to get that belief. Okay. Because when you have an experience like this, that's your proof, right? That is your proof. But what'll happen, Trina, I promise you, over time, the magic of that will dissipate for you if you don't keep doing it. And it'll just be like, oh, it was a coincidence. It was this, it was that. We forget the magic we have inside. Okay. So keep up with it. I am proud of you. I love that you've been doing this for 2 weeks. And I promise you, in 2 months, in 2 years, you're going to be a different person, because it's absolutely, you will see the changes in your life. So thanks, Trina, for writing. I really appreciate it. And if you've had an experience like that, or you were like Horace and you tried and you couldn't get it to work, I want to know about it. Okay. I want the wins and I want the people that are struggling, because I can help you. I promise you there's something in the process that you're doing, because eventually if you sit there, you're going to be able to do it. Okay. Here's the next question. It is from Franco. Franco says, why should you listen to you? Why should you listen to you? I'm assuming you're saying, why should we listen to you? Is that what it is? Okay. Why should we listen to you? How do you understand the problems of us everyday people? How do you understand the problems of us? What do you think I am? I mean, give me a break. I am a little pudgy kid from Ohio. I was born in a little town called Ravenna, Ohio. I was an only child. I was afraid of the dark. I was a little kid magician. I had horrible anxiety and stress. I hated going anywhere, where I had to go out and be in the public, right? So I don't know who you think I am, but that's who I am. Okay. I mean, I've made changes in my life over the course of decades, but only because I've been on a constant journey of this self-discovery. It's been a passion of mine ever since I was a little kid. I went to the library to get a magic book. I ended up getting The Magic of Believing. It was on the shelf mistakenly, but not. It was obviously there for me. It was obviously a sign, because it's completely changed my life. So that's why I do what I do. One of the things is, you have to be careful of anybody that's trying to sell you knowledge. Okay. I mean, of course, we have students that have been through programs and processes, and I do seminars, but that's not why I'm here. You don't hear me selling something and trying to get you into a program. I'm giving you the knowledge that I've cultivated over 30 years. And I'm only doing it because I see how much it's helping people. So it has nothing to do with, you don't have to listen. You can listen or not. But one thing I ask, Franco, is that you try. Okay? Because I understand the problems. I've been addicted to pain medicine. I have been a smoker, a 2-pack-a-day smoker. I've had, stage 3 cancer 20 years ago and thought I was going to die. I have had, money issues where I made lots of money, lost lots of money, made lots of money again. I know exactly what these problems are. I'm not living in some ivory tower. And anything that I've ever accomplished, I have also, because I take responsibility, I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've made a lot of wrong turns too. But it's only being on this journey of self-discovery that I've been able to get myself out of that. Piece by piece, everything that we struggle with in our life is a mindset thing. It doesn't matter what it is. Even if it's health, it's still a mindset issue. So understanding that, that whether it's health, it's finances, it's love, it's something you can do inside. It's there already. You just have to do some work on it. That's what I'm doing, is giving you the tools to do that. You can take them or not, and that's completely fine. It's fine. I appreciate the question. Did I answer it correctly? And that's it. I mean, all I have is my experience and the people that it's worked for me, the people that it's worked for, and the fact that I'm doing it here to help. I'm not here for any other reason. I really, even now in live events and everything, it's so much more about the transformation that other people are having. It's not so much about the I'm on stage getting applause, which is what it used to be. People don't become entertainers normally because they have some kind of defect. They want to get on stage and they want people to applaud for them. They want to be, the center of attention. And like I said, when I was very young, it was the total opposite. So, it's all these years later and being comfortable with who I am as I sit here, balding and this giant pink head and overweight and, wearing glasses, whatever. But none of that bothers me. None of that crap matters to me anymore. I don't worry about what anyone else thinks, what anyone else does. I worry about me. I worry about caring for other people, connecting to other people. I'm not worried about fighting and arguing and whatever. Hey, we're here. If you want to be with us, this is a movement. This is a mind power movement. This is how we change our lives. You want to be with us? Join us. It doesn't cost a thing. All you got to do is put it to use in your life. I don't want you just looking, being one of those people that stays there for 5 years and doesn't do anything and just, reads everything. What's the use in that? You might as well go out and fly a kite, unless you're going to put it to use in your life. So start small, start making little changes, because you need something to give you some motivation, something to inspire you. Next question is from Quincy. Quincy is in our Facebook group as well. I am way too hard on myself all the time over everything, and it looks like I'm in denial too. I've got a problem, but what should I do first? Well, if you're way too hard on yourself and you're in denial, I think the first thing you need to do is just start becoming aware. Okay. And the best thing to do is you have to figure out, okay, what are you hard on yourself about? What is the voice in your head telling you? When is that happening? What is happening in your life that makes you be hard on yourself? And it's not you. You're not hard on yourself. You have that automatic mind, okay, that's just the past, the conditioned past, throwing up images and things to scare you and try to protect you. That's what it thinks it's doing. So it's not you, because you're kind of the overseer. You're the person, you're the soul, okay? You're in the seat, kind of in control there, but there's so much going on, you don't know it. So it's not you ever. Don't ever think that's you being hard on you, okay? That's just a voice that's trying, the bitchy roommate that's going to complain and going to tell you how horrible you are. It knows everything you've ever done, knows all the bad stuff, and it loves to throw it in your face. So that would be the first thing. Just bring some awareness, find out what it is, where the triggers are, find out what it is you're thinking. What is happening right before the thought that you're start getting hard on yourself? Is it a work thing? Is it a family issue? Find out where the triggers are. And the best way to do that is find out where the red flags are. Find out where the feeling of uncomfortableness comes from. Okay, when you start to feel that, that's a sign. So examine, pause. The awareness is such a big thing. That moment of just sitting back and kind of figuring out why am I feeling that? Okay, you're driving down the street, you see a red Camaro that looks like your ex-girlfriend's, and now your stomach's upset and you're remembering the breakup and you're still angry about it. You still feel all the same emotions. Okay, That would be an easy one because you'd see, right? You would know right away why that was happening. It's going to be much harder if it just comes up and you have no, you've got this feeling and you don't know exactly what the trigger is. So you got to do a little examination of yourself, okay, of your mindset. Figure out what is on your mind a lot of the time. I talked about this last week, but an easy thing to do is get a post-it note, get a pad of post-it notes, write yourself a little picture, draw yourself a happy face, whatever it is, stick it on the wall, stick one in the bathroom. When you see it, you pause and you just figure out what's on your mind. What is my mind saying right now? Okay. That'll be kind of a backdoor way of figuring out what the trigger is. Okay, Quincy. So I hope this works for you. Let me know. I definitely want to know. Okay. But you gotta love yourself. If you're too hard on yourself, you have to, it probably means as well that you give everyone else second, third, fourth chances, but never yourself. So start taking some time for you. Take that time. If you don't meditate, try it. I am such a big proponent of meditation. I mean, it's in every course that I teach. It's part of everything I do, not only in my personal life, but it's in anything that I do where I'm teaching any of my processes. I don't think you can ever get to the point where the transformational point without it. Okay, you can see tremendous things, but you're not going to completely transform your life and become a different person until you can connect to that inner you, because that's where the wisdom is. Okay, that's what you need to do. Next question from Dreamer. I see an LOL in there. Dreamer says, Dreamer, what could my inner power do to affect the world as a whole? Nothing, right? LOL. We are screwed, so why even try? We're definitely screwed with that attitude. It's like the person last week that asked, I'm always broke, and what I don't know why. That's why. You're affirming it. You're bringing it into existence. Of course, your inner power. Every one of us has that inner power connected to our consciousness. But there is that universal consciousness. There is that universal power. And when you're connected to that, to everyone else, you're not standing alone. You are in such a huge power base from that point. So it does matter. And your inner power can affect the world. The thing is, I always tell people, we live in two worlds. You have this inner world inside your head. And that's the world of like thoughts and ideas and emotions and all of that. And then there's this outer world of physical things and places and other people and houses and cars and all of that. And those two worlds are connected, and we live there. And people can't grasp it, but think about it. If you go to a movie, you can be sitting there with your friend. You can be watching James Bond, for instance, right? Now, you're both in the same room and you're both watching the same movie. But if for some reason Mr. Bond doesn't excite you, you can turn that off mentally. You can be thinking about your first grade birthday party, what you have to do next week. You can be on your last vacation or thinking about your next one. You can be in a completely different space because of the two worlds. Okay. The problem is these worlds are connected to each other. And most of the people, 99% of us, the connection is coming from the outer to the inner. So something happens on the outside. Somebody walks up to you and they say, man, that dress looks like a blood clot. You look horrible. And we get defeated. We take that in, we run it, we think about it, we get upset about it, we get mad, we get angry. We have allowed something from the outer world to affect us. But we do that all the time. We're worried about what Mary thinks. We're worried about what the neighbors think. We're worried about this, that, or the other. Okay. The inner world, because they're connected, it also means that the inner world, which is your inner world, can affect the outer world. So it's not just the outer world that affects the inner. Obviously, if they're connected to each other, it's got to work the other way too. And it does. Thoughts have power. Thoughts are energy, frequency. And if you're vibrating on a frequency of negativity and despair and lack, or you're vibrating on a frequency of love and respect and abundance, then we know what kind of life you're leading. Okay. That's exactly what's happening. So that is how your inner power affects the outer world as a whole. Of course it does. And that's why so many people right now, we are in such a bad place, because the collective consciousness is overwhelmed with all of this BS and all this political crap and liars and lies and just nonstop programming. We're already programmed, and now they're programming your kids and your grandkids. And you still have your rusty old programming, but at least back then it wasn't so militant and so angry and so in your face as it is today. We have no attention span, 7 seconds anymore. So the time that you take for yourself in meditation, the time you take and you start increasing your consciousness. If you have right now a golf ball size consciousness, okay, the more that starts to expand. And again, it comes out of the meditation and into your life. Your consciousness now gets bigger. Now it's maybe a tennis ball, and then it becomes a football, and then it becomes, the bigger your consciousness is, the more you're going to understand, the deeper you're going to understand. Things that you've read already now make complete sense. Things you never got before, now you get, because your consciousness is expanding. That's what you're doing. That's what I'm helping you do. It's all about that, getting to the point where your consciousness starts to grow, and it changes everything. We change ourselves, and I just said it, but we change the world that way because people see it, they get inspired. It inspires the people that are younger than us to do it. But of course it makes a difference. So by not doing anything and just giving in, what is that? I mean, that's not living, just giving in there. Your inner power, you've got this tremendous computer. We've all got one. It's the most sophisticated, amazing thing. We don't know how to use it. And that's all. I try to make it as easy as possible. It's programming. Okay. And I brought a couple of videos. I want to show you a couple of my favorite ladies. Tina Turner is one, Phyllis Diller is the other, and I'll get to that in a minute. But I want them to talk a little bit about their spiritual journey. So I cultivated a couple of clips from my reels that we use. Okay. And again, I want you to know, if you follow me, if you are a member of my Facebook community, I don't just post things to post. I'm posting it to help you. I'm posting it for a reason. I'm not a post collector where we're just putting as many posts out as we can. There's something there. There's a roadmap there. There is a breadcrumb path to follow if you will take it. Okay, you got to start making change. Little ones, if you ever want to make that big, lasting change in your life, you have to do it. Okay. So we're not screwed. But if you think that, it's not help, it's no help. More people are awakening today than ever before in history because of the internet, because of books, because of, streaming, all sorts of things, and really some amazing movies and things. Gaia has great programming on their network. But so many people are awakening. So we're going to a tipping point where we're going to have to change, or it's over, because the civilization can't keep going the way it is. So we have to do something, right? So why not, all the things, the two worlds, all the things that we think are so precious, like our house and our car and all of that, those are outer world things, and they don't really matter at all. It's the inner world things. It's the free things. It's love and it's confidence. It's all those things that only you can grant, that are inside you already. Those are the things that you wouldn't take $1 million for. You can replace a car. You can replace a house. You can replace a vault full of money. You can't replace those things that you got for free. But we are such a society where things that we got for free, we look down on. We don't give them any. And that's the problem with this whole community, because I'm not selling something constantly. And people think, oh, if I'm not selling anything, that has to be a sales gimmick here. There isn't. I mean, if anybody wants to work with me, you can apply. If anybody wants to buy anything that I have, they can do that. I don't have to push any of that stuff. Okay. So if you're here with me, I'm taking that honor of your time, and I'm trying to give you as much bang for your buck as possible, because I want you to understand. I want you to have the tools that you need to make those changes in your life. Okay, dreamer, here's Janice. Janice says, I am sick of being told to get over it. I hear this a lot. If you haven't been through my trauma and pain, how can you say that? I'll never get over my past. Okay, that's another affirmation. I'll never get over my past. is an affirmation that you're saying to yourself over and over. You're affirming it over and over and over again. And I don't know you obviously, but most people who are doing that don't want to, because that misery that you're in, that feeling of dread, whatever that is more comfortable for you than change, than the unknown, than what's outside the box. So at least I know what miserable feels like, right? I don't know what any of this is, and I'm scared of it. So I'm just going to stay here. Who is that serving at this point? I know people that come to us and they say, I have the worst relationship with my mom. She did this, that, and this, and this and that, and on and on and on. And then you find out maybe 5 minutes later, she died 10 years ago. And they're still living, but not for them, because they have still the mother, it's like Psycho, right? Mother that they created, they're still fighting with in their head. They're still letting that mother tramp all over, walk all over them inside their mind. You have to let these things go. If they don't serve you anymore, why hold on to them? You're not getting over it and forgiving. You're not saying what you did. If somebody did something to you, you're not saying what you did to me doesn't matter. You're not saying here's your free pass. You get out of what you did to me. That's not what you're doing. You're saying, I want to be free. And in order for me to do that, I have to let go. Okay. Because otherwise they still have power over you. They're still holding you in even though, and if they're alive, they're off living their life. They're not thinking twice, probably. That's the kind of person who does these sorts of things. They don't think of others, right? So they're not thinking about you and thinking of all the horrible things they've done. They're living their life. And meanwhile, you are in turmoil and you are still being punished and still being treated this way, however long later. It's not serving anything. So forgiveness is amazing. If you forgive the person, you don't discount what they did. You're not forgiving them for them. You're forgiving them and releasing them from you. It's like you've got them on your back. You're carrying them on your back. Let them go. And I guarantee you things will be so much better, because you'll start to be looking at the future. You'll start to live in the now and not living in the past. Okay, the idea that you don't want to get over your past, I'll never get over my past, is you're living there, and it's a comfort issue, because we're so used to comfort, what our thought patterns are, what makes, this makes me feel that, right? I used to have a doctor that I went to years ago. I would go up and down on diets all the time. And he used to say, every night at 11 o'clock, I used to have a bowl of ice cream. But I fixed the problem. Do you know what I did? Nobody could guess the right answer, but you know what the answer was? He went to bed at 10:45. So that was his solution, right? The repetition of doing that over and over and over again. It doesn't matter what it is, though, that you have to get over from your past. You're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for them. And I mean, some people have been through the most horrendous, you couldn't even imagine. Okay. And you can't just say, get over it. I get it. But you deserve to live a life. Okay. You deserve to let go of the anchor that's holding you down and live the life that you want to live, because it's all magic. I mean, we're on a marble that's shooting through outer space, and we're worried about all this dumb stuff. We're worried about, what the neighbors think and what kind of car you drive and this and that and this. Everything's amazing. Everything's magic. We just are so brainwashed by the system, by media and government and families and everything else, that we don't see. It's like you're looking through your life through a veil of something, right? There's material in front of your face. All of a sudden, you pull that material away and everything is crystal clear. And that's happened to me many times when I'll say, wow, the sky, I've never seen it so blue. Look how green the trees are. Everything is so sharp. A lot of times after meditation, that will happen. You'll have this everything will be crystal clear, right? We're so connected to nature and so connected to these things. We can't feel it anymore because of our devices, because of, constant stimulation. So Janice, I'm not saying that you need to get over it, but for yourself, at least think about maybe the possibility. Okay, just toy with that for a while. Try some meditation, try some techniques, We talked about the mantra meditation earlier. Try a few things, and Janice, let us know how it's going for you, okay? Because really, I'll help if I can, okay? Thank you for your question, Janice. So we've had a couple of, and I love that we didn't just pick all good ones. I mean, all positive ones, because of course, that's the thing. So many people are suffering from issues and they're having problems and they want help. So I like that you guys brought in some of the, the questions that maybe if I was picking these, I think I would pick them too, but you never know. Okay, Gloria says, all I want is to be rich. Okay. Since I was a kid, I visualized it, I felt it, I've affirmed it and daydreamed about it. But guess who is still poor AF? So guess who is still poor as F? I'm guessing you, Gloria, by the wording of your question. Well, I wanted the same thing. I'll tell you what, though. I became very, very successful in my 20s. And I'll tell you why, because I had a crazy sense of belief. My whole life, I knew that I was going to have money. I, used to sit in the back of the car and have my mom drive me around. I'd have like a corded house phone talking in the back seat. Like I was, I grew up on, I grew up in the 80s. That was the money hungry 80s. All the big TV shows were all about, oil and dynasties and multi-million-dollar homes, and it was just that I was fed that ever since I was a kid. Greed is good, and so that's what I grew up with. So that idea in my mind, though, the belief was real and it created itself. The problem is it was built on a false premise. So although I attained what I thought would make all the difference and now life will be amazing, it didn't happen that way, because all of the issues that I had before came back as soon as I realized that this isn't the answer. This isn't making me happy, So there's a mindset issue there. Okay. Again, and somebody asked the same sort of question last week, but they said the same thing. I'm always broke. But you're saying, but guess who's still poor? Those affirmations are powerful. The things you say to yourself are powerful, especially if you're saying them to yourself all day long inside your head. Especially if you've been programmed with them, especially if you hear your parents talking in your head every time you want to spend $1 or anything else. So and also, Gloria, to be honest, this is not a defined goal. The other problem with this is all I want is to be rich. It's not all I want is $2 million in a beach house and a this and a that. And no, this is I want to be rich. This is what most people say. The problem is there's no end game. There's no sincere, crystal clear goal that you can put in your mind as your anchor image, because you just want to be rich. So it's always going to be, I just want to be rich. I want to be rich. That's not going to solve everything. The money, you can't be doing it for the money. You have to be doing it for the love of the passion of whatever it is. The money then comes automatically. But if you've got a mindset block, if you've got family issues where they told you, money is for evil people and that people that have money are greedy or whatever, those are things that are still running in your subconscious. Because like I said, the first 8 years, you're recording everything. After that, the tape recorder flips off. And for the rest of your life, anything that you're dealing with, the only thing you have to go back and kind of use is that tape recording. And it was made when you were a kid. So that's what happens when you're on autopilot. It's that tape that's running. It's I'm not good enough. I'm not, I wish blah, blah, blah. So that's what's running inside your mind. Okay. So you have to have a goal. Decide what it is that you want, Gloria. Decide, what it is, where you want to go, what you want to be. Decide where the passion is. Where is the feeling? Being rich isn't a feeling. Money is definitely energy, and money will run when there's feelings. It really, really will, because that energy of it, you're repelling the energy of it. So Gloria, decide what it is. Get it in your mind. Okay. And whatever you've been thinking since you were a kid, change that, because that's not serving you anymore. Right. So if your vision, whatever you're seeing, okay, if you think it's big, whatever that is, okay, just wipe that clean. Like there's a dry erase board in your head, and wipe it clean. And you're going to make a new anchor image. You're going to see yourself with the things that you want. You're going to see yourself with whatever, the partner you want. You're going to see the perfect life. Okay. If you're in, I tell people, you want to go to Paris, see yourself in Paris. You're sitting in a cafe, you're having coffee, you're having a piece of bread. You are immersed in it. Okay. If that's something you want before you go to sleep, see yourself there. You're not sleeping in, I do this all the time. I'm not sleeping in my bed. And I used to do this a long time ago and manifested so many things. The other thing that's great is if you go back, and I have hundreds of journals, because I write every day gratitude, and I write every day. I script my future life, and I've been doing that for years and years. If I go back and read the first ones, I'm living it now. I've manifested what I was scripting back then. So it constantly changes, but everything that I was writing back then, I have manifested now. But it's never ending. It's a never ending thing. You're improving yourself. You're helping other people. Money is a tool to not only to let you be free, but also to allow you to help other people and to do other things and to do humanitarian causes. It's not just, as I thought, like the famous soap opera villains of the 80s, that it's all about, let's get filthy rich and screw everyone else, because it just makes you miserable. The money doesn't do anything. Okay. I mean, it just doesn't. So, Gloria, that's my advice to you. Start, you seem like you understand visualization a little bit and affirmations, but by saying I'm still poor, you're affirming that. So just wipe the slate clean. You're going to start new. See the life that you want to live. See that end game, whatever it is, and be specific. What is it that you want? Start putting that in your anchor image, and then start visualizing that. So when you're in the line at the bank, you're at the drive-through, grabbing coffee, whatever. Take a moment when you're stuck in line and close your eyes and visualize your anchor image. Bring the feelings with it, because the feeling is the magic. The feeling, that shuddery feeling, like she said earlier, the spiritual chills. But that feeling, when you start feeling that in your body, that is the feeling that makes it happen. The wheels of the subconscious start to turn. Things start to happen in your life. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this amazing lady right here, Phyllis Diller. Because a couple of things. I talked about her last week. I've done videos on Phyllis in the past. There's 2 on my YouTube channel where I talk about all the things that she taught us and what her and I talked about. This is Phyllis on the magic of believing.
It's called The Magic of Believing. It says, "The magic of believing changed my life. Read it and any problem can be solved, happiness can be achieved, great awards can be reaped."
I have everything that I want out of life. And if I hadn't read that book, I don't know what I would be doing now.
Well, I just got the book last night, and you can be sure that I am going to read this book.
So that was a piece. Let me show you what she says next.
If you believe in yourself, you follow your own dream, your own path. Because you have to do that, especially when you're starting. Otherwise, people will just mess you all up because they have a tendency to be negative. If I feel that I'm a better person every day, because I work on myself every day.
Yeah, gee, that's a good message.
Today I'm living on raw carrots. What are you doing?
Well, today, I haven't had anything to eat yet, but raw carrots are a good idea. I'm on a diet.
Now, here's one of my favorite things, and this is something I use a lot, okay? Phyllis talks about a cloak, a cape that she uses mentally. And I do the same thing. I have like an invincibility cloak that I mentally just put on. If I know I'm about to go into a situation with a bunch of energy vampires or something that's going to drain my energy, you put that on psychically and you won't believe it. Again, your mind doesn't know the difference. If you're really doing it, if you're really talking about doing it, it's an amazing thing where the negativity just rolls off. She talks about creating like a fur cape, like a duck's water off a duck's back. Watch this.
But he didn't think you would ever make it in show business, never make it in comedy.
That's true, and told me so. Well, you see, I did, from the book, Magic of Believing, I had invented something for myself psychically. I had a white feather cape, which I was wearing at all times. And, like water off a duck. No matter what they said, it never penetrated.
And one more.
The best thing I received was out of this book, The Magic of Believing by Claude Bristol. I read the book, and it's a system of thought, and it's something there's a system in this book that if you use it and you do it, it works. But most people just read the book and put it aside. I read it for 2 years. I underlined it, and then I leafed through it every day for 2 years, and firmly got this method in my head, and I did it.
Well, certainly, you have given new life to the book. The book has been reprinted many times.
I've kept that book alive for 30 years.
And finally, I want to give you a little piece here from Tina Turner. Tina Turner was always an inspiration to so many people, and to me too. She was the one performer. I don't know how many times I went to her concert, but we're probably talking 30 times all over the world. She was just an unbelievable, the energy from her, just unbelievable. But she was a huge proponent of mind power. So she talks here about the practice of mind power. Let's play this.
What the practice does, it helps you to feel better, helps you to think different. If you think different, you think correctly. I would say it helps you to think correctly. But once you start putting words in, the same words, it's like typing in good thoughts. You type it in, and you get a whole rollout of good thoughts. Your brain is thinking good thoughts. Your mind is constantly rolling and saying good things. So you think differently, which helps you to get to where you want to get your car, your house, and to feel good.
Doesn't get any easier than that, easier to understand than that, okay? You got to start somewhere. Start with that meditation tomorrow. Remember, philoli is the word. Fight, love, live. Remember that. Philoli is the word. That's the word you're going to use for your mantra in your meditation. Okay. This is something we teach in our classes. I'm giving it to you here, but I want you to use it. I want you to tell me how it works for you. But give it at least a week. Okay. And watch the changes in your life. Now we're here each and every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our Mind Power Secrets podcast. And of course, you're watching right now. Every week, I'm giving you tips, techniques, strategies, what you need to go from where you are to wherever it is that you want to be. There is a path. Success leaves footprints. Tony Robbins says that, and it's true. Why not follow somebody who's done it, what it is that you want to do? If you want to talk to a millionaire, you don't go down to the pier and find a homeless person. You have to talk to somebody who's made $1 million. If you want to be a bodybuilder, you're not going to come talk to me, for instance. You're going to find, a big muscular bodybuilder. So you got to start taking action. This is the way you do it. Just join us. Give me an hour a week, 1 hour a week. I will help you. Together, you and I, we will transform your life. Now, if you haven't joined the Facebook community, that's where this all is. That's where everyone is. You have to apply. It's free, but we don't take everyone. We don't allow spammers in there. We don't allow people that aren't serious. We don't allow people that are putting down other people and degrading others. This is a safe community where you are empowered to take control of your own life. You're not empowered to follow somebody else's doctrine. You're not empowered to go down the path of someone else's teaching. You're empowered to start finding it within yourself, because it is already there. You just don't know how to activate it. So go to brentsgroup.com. You can apply. You can join the Facebook community right away. And then you can start gaining this knowledge. We have thousands of posts, thousands of videos linked to our YouTube channel, 700 videos on every topic you can imagine. These aren't even monetized. They're there for you. They're there for you to learn. So join right now. The address is also down beneath me. It's brentsgroup.com, brentsgroup.com. And finally, a few of you have asked, there are five more copies left. If you'd like one of my new book, 5 Steps to the Perfect Mindset. So it's cool. There's 5 steps to the perfect mindset. There are 5 left. The 5 things you need to know to start right now to get control of your mindset. That way you'll get control of your life. It's free for a limited time. You can implement it right away. It's a quick read, 60, 70 pages. I condensed some powerful information and it is there for you. BrentsFreeBook.com. BrentsFreeBook.com. rehash.com. So they got for you today. I will be back again next week. And next week, we're going to cover some topics. So if you do have any questions, though, if you thought of anything that you want to talk about, just drop us a message or put it into the chat in one of our Facebook communities. We will certainly get to that. Okay. So I want you to go out. I want you to enjoy yourself. I want you to have a great week. And I want you to remember that everything you need is already inside you. You don't have to buy a course. You don't have to follow a guru. You just need to unlock and unleash the power that's dormant inside you now to make real change in your life. I promise it is yours to have. You just got to reach out and take it. Talk to you soon.